Tom Halverson, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. What we wanted to do today was take just a couple of minutes and get your perspective on the coronavirus situation with a specific focus on availability of credit, in particular availability of credit for the rural industries that CoBank finances. So most of my questions are going to focus on that area. And again, we really appreciate your taking time to do this.
Thank you, Arthur. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to the conversation.
Let's just set some context. The day we're recording this is March 17th. Obviously, over the last 2 weeks, the world has been consumed with the evolving public health situation all over the world. Here in the United States, you've had government agencies, businesses, educational institutions, et cetera, all basically responding day by day. And you've had, in the business world, a gradual curtailment of activity. So companies are restricting non-essential travel, having employees work from home. Many companies in some sectors are shutting down altogether. And I guess my first question for you, Tom, is from today's vantage point, do you expect that we are through that kind of initial phase where companies know what they're doing and how they're going to manage, and they are going to start being able to focus again, not inwardly, but outwardly on their customers, on business operations, operating profitably, et cetera?
Great question. I think it depends a lot on what industry you're in, right? Because airlines and restaurants are different than, agricultural co-ops or water companies or communications companies. So facts and circumstances of the industry matter a lot. I don't think, however, we're through the point of everybody, even in the most challenged industries, of having figured out exactly how they're going to run their business and keep their employees safe. We're almost done with that period, but I don't think we're quite done with that period. I mean, there are still businesses out there who are trying to figure out, should I be fully remotely operating? What should I be doing from a business continuity plan and so forth. Now, some companies are further along than that. I mean, I'd say we are. We've been watching this carefully for a while. We've been pretty proactive in our steps. We've taken quite timely decisions with respect to how we run our business and configure for the best interests of health and well-being of our employees. And we're simultaneously quite focused externally on how are we going to fulfill our mission, how are we going to make sure that we're providing the credit and other services that our customers need as our customers figure out what they need to do to run their business.
Talk about the financial services sector specifically in this regard. So when you think about commercial lenders, when you think about community banks, farm credit institutions, credit unions, et cetera, compared to other industries, how well positioned is the financial services sector to keep the flow of credit going out into the marketplace and to their customers, given all the societal and workplace safety measures that have been enacted?
Yeah. Here's what I'd say. Nobody wants a situation like this to occur, obviously. Nobody would have expected a pandemic with these attributes and so forth. But here it is, right? And it comes at a time when the economy was, from a macro perspective, as strong as it's ever been in my lifetime, and where the financial services industry broadly in the United States is stronger than it's been in the history of the country, right? I can say that about the commercial banking sector. I can also say that about the farm credit system and CoBank. We're all in very robust, good health, right? So we enter it from a position of financial and economic strength. However, what you have here is a highly unusual set of facts and circumstances, because all of the steps from a public health perspective that are required to be taken to sort of quote unquote, flatten the curve and to deal with and mitigate this coronavirus pandemic and the exponential passing on of this that is occurring is all highly depressing to economic activity, right? It's like we're putting the economy in deep freeze as fast as possible because we're separating people to the maximum degree possible. That is an immense, immediate dampening and depressing impact on economic activity. The consequence of that is enormous stress in the financial machinery of the economy and on the financial intermediaries in particular, so the commercial banking sector, us and the rest of the farm credit system for rural America and for the farmers and ranchers and co-ops and others that we serve. Because what happens is an enormous amount of intermediation of money has to happen. This is a pretty strange cocktail of causes for how and why you'd get into a recession. But some of the tools that we've used in the past will be necessary and appropriate, like the monetary tools that we're seeing used. Fiscal policy is going to need some more thinking and some more attributes, because it isn't just particular sectors like the auto sector or the banking sector that need to be sorted out because they've gotten themselves into a trouble by the way they ran themselves. What we have here is a real GDP problem at the level of workers in industries who just had to effectively shut down for an extended period, which creates a really a hard problem to deal with, and therefore TARP for bailing out the banks 12 years ago, or the bailout of the U.S. auto industry isn't the solution here. But giving checks to real consumers across the United States to keep purchases happening and to keep people from going bankrupt at the consumer level. We've not had to do that before, but that's the kind of thing that are being considered here because of the unique attributes of the steps that we have to take to confront the virus itself.
What should corporate borrowers expect in this environment for the foreseeable future? What impacts do you expect on that group of companies?
Clearly, this increases uncertainty for everybody. What's the economy? What are the macro indicators going to look like six weeks from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? The range of potential outcomes here is much broader now than it was if we'd had this conversation even 2 or 3 weeks ago. So a much higher degree of uncertainty, a much higher degree of volatility, right? So all the financial markets have a very, very high level of volatility right now, which means it's going to be harder to make decisions. You're going to have to make decisions probably more quickly, with less information, and a higher degree of uncertainty with respect to what those outcomes are. What I would say to all of our customers is we are in robust good health. We stand ready to help and support all of our customers with whatever it is that they need. If they need money within the framework of existing facilities, we're here for them. If they need to talk to us about accessing more products and services or liquidity, we're here for them. We want to discuss that. If they just want some thought leadership and to talk to us about how to navigate some of the challenges they're facing, we're here for them. I would also tell our corporate customers that we view this for ourselves, and I would encourage our customers to think about it similarly. Every time you have a big dislocation of this nature, it's stressful, it creates uncertainty, it's challenging to manage through. It also always shakes things up and creates new opportunities. You don't always know what those opportunities are going to be when it starts or even when you're in the middle of it, but they do emerge. And so I would encourage our customers to think as we are about, hey, where are the silver linings in this situation? Challenging and difficult though it may be, as we're thinking about how to safeguard our employees, our relationships, your own institutions, customers, and so forth, as we work our way through those issues, stay as we are, externally focused. Who are my customers that I'm serving? What kinds of challenges are they facing? How can I deliver value to them? And what new opportunities might emerge as a result of this great convulsion of unexpected facts and circumstances that we're experiencing?
What about in the rural industries that we finance specifically at CoBank? Agribusiness, rural power, rural water, rural telecom, rural healthcare.
I think all of those rural industries that we serve, they were super important before for anyone who lives in rural America. But guess what? When we get to the other side of this, people are going to look back and say, wow, what did we discover that we need more of? All of those things, right? If you're going to work from home, if you're going to do all the things that we're asking people, homeschool, do all that stuff, guess what? You better have internet connectivity. You better have decent communications, right? You're going to need more electricity and power resources than you need before. I have a home in rural Colorado, and I use satellite internet. Now, my wife and I are both working there. Guess what? we don't have enough volume or enough speed. Millions of people across rural America will be in the same situation. And so I think what we're going to find is those industries we knew they were important. They're even more important in a situation unusual as it is like this. Because if you're going to be able to run businesses or have people work from home, today at the White House press conference, they were talking about how they're going to substantially increase the use of telehealth and telemedicine tools and techniques for Medicaid recipients in this country, of which there's approximately 60 million. Well, guess what? If you don't have decent internet connectivity, how are you going to do telehealth with a doctor who's 100 miles or 200 miles away, right? So I think it's going to reinforce in people's minds what we've known and what we've been saying with our stakeholders and so forth for a long time, which is, wow, these are really vital industries in rural America. They're even more vital than we thought, because if people are going to be able to be healthy, maintain economic activity, work from home, have their kids get their homework and do their stuff online because they can't go to the school, it's even more important.
Tom, thank you so much for taking time to do this. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arthur. It's always a pleasure.